Hello campers and fellow camp song lovers. Today I'm reading the second half of the second chapter of Sal Fisher. Isn't this fun? Nancy asked Sal. Aren't you glad now you're part of you're a brownie? Sure, I'm glad, Sal said. Only when is Mrs. Peterson going to talk about the pony rides next week? That's what I'm really excited about. Mrs. Peterson was holding up her right hand as a signal for the girls to be quiet. Now it's your turn, she said. I know you must all have questions you want to ask. Sit down first and raise your hands so we won't all talk together. Several hands waved in the air. Mrs. Peterson picked Carol. When can we buy our uniforms? Carol asked. Oh, that was my question, Tony said as she put her hand down. Mine too, came from Doris and Pat. It is the first question all new brownies ask, Mrs. Peterson said with a smile. And it's a very good question too. You may buy your uniforms or wear them if you've been given them by an older brownie for your investiture. But we'll have 4 meetings before the investiture, so that you'll all know a little bit about the brownies. What does that big word mean, anyway? Ginger asked. I know, Alice said. Mrs. Peterson nodded for her to go on. My sister is a brownie. That's how I know, Alice explained. The investiture is when you really get made a brownie. There's a little ceremony, and each girl says a promise to the leader. And there's a part of the brownie story about. That's enough for now, Alice, Mrs. Peter said. You're right. The investiture is the ceremony where you will make your promise and become true brownies. We'll save the brownie story for next week. Next week? Sal cried. I thought next week we were going to go for a trip to Anna's farm for pony rides. We are, Mrs. Peterson promised. We're going to do both. We're going to Anna's to ride her pony and see the farm, and we'll also have a quiet time there where I'll tell you the brownie story, she explained. She explained that Mr. Sumak's invitation. There were many questions then. What would they do at meetings if they would have trips like some of the older brownies friends. And at last Mrs. Peterson had to say time was up. They were to meet after school the next week to drive to Anna's farm in the leaders' cars. I wish Ginger would stop acting silly, Nancy said as she walked home with Sal. Carol, and Doris. She acts that way in school sometimes too, and Mrs. Manson has to stop whatever she's doing until Ginger calms down. Maybe in Brownies she'll get over it, so she won't spoil our fun. There's nobody in our class like Ginger, said Doris, who was in the other second grade. But we have Linda, who's just the other way. She never puts up her hand to say anything, and Miss Terry can't hear her when it's Linda's turn to read. Did Linda leave before the meeting was over? She asked. She wasn't standing by the door when we went home. How come she wants to be a brownie if she's so shy? Linda doesn't want to, not a bit, Nancy said. I heard my mother talking to her mother about it. They were saying being a brownie might help Linda get over being so shy. When Sal reached home, her mother was at the telephone and Jane was practicing her piano lesson. Sal decided to go to her room and play with her horse collection until dinner time. But the gilt horse, the horse an artist friend had carved out of soap, the pictures of horses on her wall, no, not one seemed interesting today. Sal curled up on her bed and started to read a brand new library book about horses. But not even that was exciting. She kept thinking about the brownie meeting, and the walk home she thought of Ginger, who was too noisy, and Linda, who was too shy, and of how people hoped that being a brownie would help both girls. Sal suddenly remembered how often Jane told her she had two left hands. Jane said maybe being a Girl Scout would help Sal get out over her awkwardness. Sal wished her mother would finish voting. She wanted to tell her about the other girls in Brownies who had things to get over too. It was just getting dark. Sal saw the lights of a car turning into the Fishers' driveway. She rushed down the stairs, out the back door, and down the path to the garage to meet her father. "Hi, Chub," Mr. Fisher called as he closed the garage doors. It was his very old nickname for Sal. "I was going to tell you all about our first brownie meeting," Sal said, pretending to be cross, "but I won't, if you're going to call me that." Her father put his arms around her plump middle and tickled her ribs. "You are my Chub still, and I like you this way," he said, "but don't tell your mom, or she will put both of us on a diet. Come on now, Chub, and tell me about your brownie meeting." "Well," said Sal, "one exciting part was that next week we're having a pony ride." How about this week?" Mr. Fisher asked. "Didn't anything important happen today?" "Oh, sure, Dad. Lots of things." By this time, they were in the kitchen. Mother was asking Dad about his day at the office, and Jane wanted the newspaper with the comics. Sal knew her father couldn't listen to her then. After dinner, she decided she would tell about Linda, about Ginger, and about the Brownie promise they had all made together. And that's the end of chapter 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Chapter 2. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and come join me for the next chapter of Sal Fisher, Brownie Scout.